Vijaypat Singhania was once at the peak of Raymond. So how did things reach the point of living in a rented house? And how much wealth did he actually leave behind? A man who built his identity not from his own name, but from the brand he created. A man who gave a textile mill a cultural identity like the complete man. He was once counted among the most influential industrialists in India. He lived in that luxurious private tower in South Mumbai that was often compared with homes like Antilia. But when that same man ends up being forced to live in a rented house, far from the empire he himself built, then the question is no longer just about business. It becomes about fate, family, inheritance, and wealth. And now, after his passing, the biggest question is this. How much wealth did Vijaypat Singhania actually leave behind? And what kind of legacy did he leave? On March 28, 2026, Vijaypat Singhania passed away in Mumbai at the age of 87. His son and Raymond Group chairman Gautam Singhania confirmed the news. He was remembered not only as the former chairman of Raymond, but also as a Padma Bhushan awardee and a record-setting aviator. In other words, his identity was not limited to being a textile tycoon. He was one of those rare figures in the Indian corporate world in whom business, style, personal daring, and public stature all appeared together. But the most striking part of Vijaypat Singhania's story is not his obituary. It is the contrast in his life. On one side was the phase when he was considered the architect of Raymond. The man who pushed the group beyond fabric into apparel, engineering, and aggressive expansion into new sectors. On the other side came a phase when the same man was saying in public interviews that handing over the business to his son had been his biggest mistake. That contrast is what prevents this story from being just another ordinary corporate biography. It is a story about wealth, but even more about control, trust, succession, and family fracture. You cannot understand Vijaypat Singhania without understanding the story of Raymond. According to Raymond's official company history, the roots of the company go back to the Raymond Woolen Mill, established in 1925 near Thane Creek. Later, Lala Vijaypat Singhania took over this mill, and the Singhania family moved it forward in a new form. In 1958, at King's Corner in Ballard Estate, Mumbai, the first exclusive Raymond showroom was opened. That moment marked the shift from a mill toward becoming a brand. Raymond's history describes this as a pioneering move in organized textile retail. In the following decades, Raymond helped shape the imagination of Indian menswear. In the suiting-shirting category, its name became synonymous with trust, elegance, and aspiration. But Raymond did not remain only an elite brand. Over time, it expanded its reach through retail networks, tailored offerings, and wider consumer access. Raymond's current official company description and annual reports show that the group today exists not only in textiles, but also in engineering, real estate, and high-precision manufacturing. That means Vijaypat Singhania's legacy is not just about selling cloth. It is a legacy of business transformation. Vijaypat Singhania took charge of Raymond around 1980, and during his tenure, the group saw noticeable expansion. He is often remembered as the leader who helped transform Raymond from simply a woolen fabric producer into a lifestyle and industrial group with global recognition. His association with the era of the complete man brand is also very deep, because Raymond was not just selling products. It was selling an image of refined masculinity, class, and aspiration. In Indian corporate history, very few promoters have had a personal aura so strongly connected with the narrative of their brand. Then came the glamorous chapter that turned Vijaypat Singhania into a larger-than-life personality in the public imagination. He was associated with JK House in South Mumbai, known as the Singhania family's private residential tower. Here it is important to understand one correction. In public discourse, JK House was often compared with Mukesh Ambani's Antilia. But based on available height references, Antilia is about 173 meters tall, while JK House is described as around 145 meters and a 37-story tower. So the claim that it is taller than Antilia does not appear accurate according to reliable measurements. However, JK House has certainly been counted among India's most talked about private residences. But the most painful part of that building story is not its luxury. It is the exile associated with it. According to NDTV's 2017 report and later coverage, Vijaypat Singhania transferred his 37% controlling stake in Raymond to his son Gautam Singhania in 2015. At that time, the stake was estimated to be worth more than 1,000 crore. Soon after that, the family dispute deepened, and Vijaypat Singhania alleged that he was effectively pushed out of JK House and later had to live in rented accommodation. He also said that he no longer even had access to a car, driver, and several basic facilities. This was the turning point that dramatically changed Vijaypat Singhania's public image. Earlier, he was known as a brand-building industrialist. Now he became a symbol of a wealth transfer tragedy. In several interviews, he said that handing everything to his son had been his biggest mistake. In an old interview with Mumbai Mirror, he said that he had given up control, blinded by love, and later it proved disastrous for him. In an interview with India Today in 2023 as well, He expressed deep regret over relinquishing his assets. This was not just a family complaint. It was the pain of a generation that built an empire and then lost control of it. The public nature of this dispute was also unusual. Property or control disputes occur in many industrial families, but very rarely does a patriarch himself come to the media and express his pain so openly. According to NDTV's reporting, he even raised issues in court related to house rights and living arrangements. Reports in Business Standard and NDTV in 2024 also showed that Vijaypat Singhania clearly said reconciliation with his son Gautam had not happened, even though shared photos on social media had sparked speculation. This made it clear that the rift was not a surface-level misunderstanding. It was a deep fracture. Now comes the biggest question: how much wealth did Vijaypat Singhania actually leave behind? The honest answer is that it is difficult to publicly verify his exact net worth at the time of his death. The reason is simple. Years earlier, he had already transferred his largest corporate holding, the controlling stake in Raymond, to his son. So his once-held wealth and his end-of-life personal estate cannot be considered the same. Several media reports had once placed his net worth at around 12,000 crore, and some older billionaire references placed him in the roughly $1.4 billion category. But a publicly audited figure for his directly controlled personal wealth at the time of his death is not clearly visible. So it is more accurate to say that Vijaypat Singhania was once an industrialist with wealth running into thousands of crores, but in the final years of his life, the structure of that wealth had dramatically changed. A large part of the core wealth he created had already moved to the next generation through succession. That is why the question of how much wealth he left behind becomes both emotionally and legally complex. He may not have left behind the kind of liquid or directly held billionaire estate people imagine, but he certainly left behind a business legacy whose market value and brand power can still be measured in thousands of crores. If we look at Gautam Singhania's current wealth, older Forbes-based references have placed him in the category of over $1.4 billion. But it is important to understand that this reflects Gautam's billionaire status, not a direct measure of Vijaypat Singhania's final personal estate. Even so, it does indicate that the business empire whose control was transferred had, and still has, immense underlying value. After Raymond's restructuring, the group's presence and value creation in lifestyle, realty, and engineering verticals also reflect this. Raymond's recent company structure helps illustrate this legacy. According to the 2025 annual report and recent company disclosures, the group has emphasized engineering excellence, real estate expansion, and precision manufacturing. Raymond Realty has also shown meaningful top-line growth in recent years. This means Vijaypat Singhania's business legacy did not remain limited to the old suiting era. It extended into post-textile diversification. Even though Gautam Singhania now plays the central strategic role in the group's current structure, the foundation was laid by the earlier generation, whose representative figure was Vijaypat Singhania. But an industrialist legacy cannot be measured only through balance sheets. A large part of Vijaypat Singhania's public persona was also connected to aviation. He was remembered for world record level achievements in hot air ballooning, his passion for flying, and his adventurous spirit. That is why when you read his obituary, the word aviator often appears alongside industrialist. Symbolically, it means he was not just a man of profit and loss. He loved flight, risk, and spectacle. Such a multi-dimensional identity is rarely seen among business leaders. Perhaps the saddest part of his story is not how much wealth he had or did not have. The saddest part is that in the final phase of his life, he publicly gave a warning. Parents should not transfer all their wealth to their children during their lifetime. This message appears clearly in interviews reported by NDTV and others. He did not say it as a theory. He said it from experience. In South Asia, family businesses often run on trust, not on structured legal safeguards. But the Vijaypat Singhania episode showed that if succession happens emotionally and without safeguards, wealth can turn from security into vulnerability. If we place his story in the broader context of Indian business history, it becomes both a success story and a cautionary tale. A success story because he built Raymond into a recognizable, aspirational, multi-sector group. A cautionary tale because he lost balance between wealth transfer, family trust, and personal security. This story is not just about a father-son dispute. It is the story of a generation that built empires but did not always secure family governance in modern ways. And perhaps that is why after his passing, people are not just offering tributes, they are also drawing lessons. Whether Vijaypat Singhania left a large estate in his own name or not in his final years, one thing is clear: he left behind a brand, an industrial legacy, and a public lesson. Wealth figures change with time. Controlling stakes get transferred. Market caps rise and fall. But names like Raymond, memories like JK House, aviation records, and that bitter warning will remain part of his story. Perhaps the most accurate thing to say is this: Vijaypat Singhania did not just leave behind money. He left behind a chapter in Indian corporate history that carries brilliance, caution, and a deep human tragedy all at once. If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.